So first, you want to make sure that in your SnapClose software you have enabled the 1099-S form. So in your administrator part of the program, make sure to, on your company profile tab, check off the Show 1099 form checkbox. Once you have that done, make sure to enter your company's EIN in the tax ID field. Click Save when you're done. In your files, there is a checkbox in your file for 1099 filing. This allows you to mark the files that you know you need to go back to when 1099 filing comes around, to make sure you go back to these files and submit the 1099s. You can do the 1099 as soon as you want, or you can wait and do them all, at the end of the year, whichever works better for you. This checkbox, though, in the software under reports, there's a report under management, 1099s for tax year X. This report, I'm just going to run it for 2020 for now. This report will show you any files that have that check mark checked. So whatever files you check off for that, it's going to show you. It'll show you the closing date. It'll show you the last time something was submitted or printed, property address, etc. So once you have that report, you can go back to whichever files you have marked off for that. In your seller properties here, you have a field for the social security number for the seller. If this is an individual, it'll give you the SSN, or if it's a business or a trust or something, it'll do the EIN format. Make sure, each seller, if you have more than one, you can put a different social security number for each seller in the program. Once you have your seller information entered in, you're going to go over to your 1099 tab that you enabled previously. And each seller can be submitted individually or jointly. So you're going to have to find out from the sellers how they file their taxes. But once you have that, click on the first one and it'll bring up the properties for the first seller. And if you switch to the second seller, you can click, if you have more than one, you can add, if you had a third one in here. Let's say third seller is a business, right? So it should give me the, oh, that's not too many. Oh, see, if you put too many in, it'll correct you. There you go. So, it'll tell you that, this is the third one. I didn't put any information in, but you can see it brings over all their information. This one was submitted already. So if you want to submit the second one, you can submit the second one. It'll come up and say, the social security number has been marked as confirmed. If you have received a W-9 or other confirmation from the seller, remember to mark the tax IDs as confirmed. Would you like to submit it anyway? Say okay. Successfully submitted, gives you a date. If you go back and you go, oh, I shouldn't have typed their name in, you can make corrections to this information, just resubmit it. And the last one that you submit is the one that gets submitted at the end of the year when we file the 1099s to the IRS at the end of March. So you can make as many corrections as you want. Any changes you make will override whatever you submitted previously. So feel free to make corrections. If you find out that these people actually need to file jointly, you can check this little box over here, this little drop down. We'll bring up second seller. So now second seller goes away. First seller and second seller are filing jointly. So you can you probably will just put their first person's name in. I wouldn't put both of them in, but like I said, you have to find out from the sellers how exactly they're filing or how they need it to be displayed. Once you have that information, there's a print. This is so that you can print copy B for the transfer. It pulls in all the information. It comes up in Word if you need to, if you don't feel like sending the full social security number out to the people, you can change that, save it. This basically just pulls in all the information that you have. This can be provided to them, print this out, give it to them, mail it to them, pretty much with all their other closing documents. We have some helpful links too. I have a PowerPoint presentation that I'll share with everybody online. But we try to make it pretty simple for everybody. I mean, it's pretty much, most of this information is already in the program. This is all your information. This is all, your federal tax ID that you put in an administrator, their information from the profile tab. Most of this information all comes automatically for the program. You pretty much just have to verify it and hit submit and print, give them the copy B with the rest of their closing documents. And we'll submit the 1099s for you March 31st. So hopefully that's quick and easy, and let me know if anybody has any questions. Feel free to ask questions. Here we go. Oh, yes. So once the 1099s are filed at the end of the year, we will provide you a report with the submission confirmations. So if you would like to specifically ask for a copy of the report, feel free to email support@snapclose.com, and we'll send the report to you. It doesn't have any NPI in it, but it will contain like confirmations for all the other information that you've sent. Does that? You're welcome. Feel free to let me know if you have any other questions too. I mean, feel free to send an email to support@snapclose.com. We can answer any questions you have via email, or you can give us a call. We have some. I'll send a link to the recording of this in the slideshow. A little thank you email to everybody, and forward it to anybody else maybe in your office who wasn't able to attend. I'm gonna leave it open for questions till about 2:15. So another minute or two here. If anybody thinks of any other questions you may have, feel free to let me know. Okay. Well, like I said, email us, call us if you have any questions. I'm gonna send everyone a link to the recording and the PowerPoint. Oh, does every seller need a 1099-S for every transaction? That is a great question. You really should talk to your tax advisor about who needs a 1099. The IRS has information. There's a link to the information instructions for the 1099. No, not every seller needs a 1099. You have to make sure that they fall into certain tax categories. I mean, I defer from giving tax advice on the webinar. This is more of a how the software works, but the IRS does have instructions for who needs to file this, who must file. I mean, this is all information that you really want to read from the IRS so that you know that you're submitting it for the people who do actually need it. Primary residences, investment properties, all sorts of other things, play a factor into who needs it. So I have links to these documents in the PowerPoint presentation that people can go through. So I would say at least ask your accountant or tax accountant who would need this. You're welcome. Okay, so here's a question. If I haven't marked any of my files for electronic recording, is there an easy way to identify which files, maybe even through mass update? There are reports in the program. I mean, it would only really apply to purchases, as far as I'm aware. We have reports, that you can run for, files closed, in the prior year, closed files by client. I mean, you would have to go through the reports in the program for, let's say, January, run the report for all purchases closed for the year, and then find out who, depending on, the tax status, needs to have it filed. So, this is going to shine out. This is a sample. Apparently, I don't have any closed. But yes, you would need to go through the purchases closed in the year and then see which files may be applicable or not, and then go back through them. All right, well, let me know if that helps, or we can make custom reports for you too. So if there's a way that if there's a way that you think we could help you identify what files may be applicable, I mean, we can create reports specifically just for purchases. We can even update a report if you would rather have the 1099 like this report, we can change it if it's easier for you. We can change it to just show purchases and ignore the checkboxes even, so that you can go back through those files. I mean, I wouldn't mind giving out like copies of these reports to help you go through any files that you didn't check off. And yes, you can only print the copy B. Let me know if that doesn't answer your question, but going back to purchases for last year, I mean, I can maybe even update that report just to do that for you. But somebody asked a question, so we can only print copy B. Yes, that is true. You can only print copy B. Copy A, if you will, is what is submitted to the IRS. We submit that to the IRS, and then we provide you a spreadsheet confirmation with what was submitted to the IRS for you once we do that. So we usually provide those toward usually around like the middle of April. We'll give you those confirmations. So does that answer your question? Okay. You're welcome. I did schedule this to go till about 2:30, so feel free if you need to go. Don't feel like it is recorded, so feel free to leave if you have to. And just to answer your question, yeah, if copy B is the one for the sellers. Copy A that gets submitted, you have to actually order special paper from the IRS, from what I understand. So it's a whole thing. Like you can't just print out copy A and send it in. You have to order like it's like scannable, almost like Micker check stock. It's like special paper that's scannable by the IRS's computers. It's a whole process. I've heard nightmares. This electronic thing is way easier. Okay, well, like I said, feel free to send any questions you may have to support@snapclose.com, and have a happy rest of the day and rest of the week.